Boom, and there you have it. The 2024-25 season has come to an end. Liverpool were crowned Premier League champions for the second time in 5 years, and well, everyone's favourite time of the year is approaching. No, not the summer holidays. Close though, the summer transfer window. If any team needs a big rebuild this summer, it's my beloved Manchester City, because that season we had last season was absolutely abysmal. It was horrific, and we definitely need to refresh the squad, get some fresh legs, and there are a load of players in the squad that have overstayed their welcome. So, today we're going to be looking at 3 of the biggest names that have been linked with City this summer, and I'm going to be talking about how I think they'd fit into the City squad and how likely we are to get their signature down on the paper. But before we get into today's video, please do like the video, obviously if you enjoyed, and leave your thoughts down below on what players you think City should sign, what players you think City should sell, and don't even just limit it to City. If you want to comment what players you think your team should sign, what players you think your team should sell, start a conversation down in the comments. I'd like to hear all of your guys' suggestions, and obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help the channel out. You liking the video, subscribing to the channel really does help push my videos in the algorithm, and help my videos reach a wider audience. With all that being said, let's look at Manchester City's top transfer targets for the summer window of 2025.
Dashed in brilliantly by Noori, and maybe.
So the first player we have on the list is Wolves' Ryan Noori, and it has been reported by Spanish media outlets that Man City have open talks with Wolves to sign the Algerian left back, and left back is one of the trouble positions for City, and it has been pretty much the whole time Pep Guardiola's been here, with City struggling to find a out-and-out left back to fill in that position, because a lot of the time it's centre backs, midfielders or right backs playing in the left back position. I think it's time City finally go and get an actual left back that is being coached his whole career to play left back, and Noori is one of 2 names that's been thrown about, with the main target still being Tino Livramento from Newcastle. But I want to focus on Noori because I think Noori is an exceptional football player. He's very technically gifted on the ball, which makes him press resistant. He's very good at dribbling out of tight spaces under pressure, which is what you want. You don't want a defender that panics on the ball. You want a defender that's very comfortable in his ability on the ball, because where's the one place you don't want to lose the ball? In the back line. So you want all of your defenders to be confident on the ball. He's very good going forward, and that's what you want. The modern game is about wing backs. You want wing backs. You don't want fullbacks anymore. You don't want fullbacks that can only defend and that's it. That's sort of something that you don't see in the game anymore. That's not really part of football. With that being said, you don't just want wingers in your wing back positions. You want them to be able to defend, and Noori can do both. Noori is very good going forward. He's a very good crosser of the ball. He's a very good dribbler of the ball. He's got very good attack positioning for a defender. He's someone that scored 4 goals and got 7 assists last season. That would have made him City's joint 6th top goal scorer in the league with Bernardo Silva, and it would have made him joint 2nd assist provider in the league, joint with De Bruyne, and only 1 behind Savio, who had 8, which shows a lack of output from City players across the board, because Wolves' left back should not be competing in the top 10 with City goal scorers and be in the top 2 for City assist providers. It's crazy work, but it also shows how good he really is, because let's not forget, Wolves had an awful start to the season. Wolves were very much tipped for relegation. They were the worst team in the league for the first few months of the season, and yes, they brought it back. They went on the longest unbeaten run, the longest winning streak of any team in the Premier League. Wolves, so it is a credit to them, and it's a credit to players they have, and Noori is one of those players. He's someone that wins 6.35 ground duels per 90, which when compared to Vardiol, who spent a lot of his time playing left back for City, he would only win 4.26 per 90. But then again, you have to take into account that Vardiol was winning 61% of his ground duels, whereas Noori was only winning 54. But again, as long as he's out there winning the ground duels, he's not losing out every single time. He's basically just not being a hologram for wingers to run through one round. He's someone that likes to get stuck in. He's happy to put in a tackle. He's happy to do the defensive yards. He's not someone like Cancelo, who's only there to whip in crosses, take shots, play nice passes. When it comes to defending, all he knows how to do is commit a foul, because he doesn't know how to defend. He doesn't know how to hold a defensive line. Noori is one of the more complete left backs in the league, and I think if we could get his signature from Wolves, if we could sign him, nail him down at City, move Vardiol to centre-back next to Diaz, have O'Reilly cover for Noori in cup games, develop under him, I think we could be set in the defensive position for a long time to come. And I honestly think Noori is the man to solve our left-back troubles. But again, Tino Livramento is another option. I think he'd be more expensive with him obviously being English. I think Newcastle would be less likely to let him go, given the fact that they play European football, and I think there'd be a higher asking price. I've also watched more of Noori, obviously international football as well, and I've watched more Wolves games than I have Newcastle, and I just think Noori is a perfect fit. But if we were to get Livramento, would I complain? No, not really. But Noori is my man, and he's the one that I think City should go out and get. But moving on to the next player, which is
And in the nick of time, Ryan Cherky saves the day for Lyon.
So we go from one Ryan to another, and of course we're now talking about Ryan Cherky from Lyon, who has been linked with a move to City after the departure of Kevin De Bruyne at the end of the season. And well, the Frenchman has also been reported to be open to a move to the Premier League. And yes, I say Premier League. Obviously, some people are saying that he has been reported to have said that he's open to a move to City. But as far as I'm aware, and as far as everything I've seen and heard, he only said that he is open to a move to the Premier League, not City. So it could be any of the 20 teams, whether that be Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, or even City themselves. But yeah, it's not a move to City that he said he's open to. It's a move to the Premier League. And well, the Frenchman is somebody that scored 12 goals last season and provided 20 assists in 44 games across Ligue 1, the French Cup, and the Europa League, which again is considerably more than anybody in the City team, bar Haaland. And again, you have to think, yes, it's against lesser opposition, but those are still outrageous numbers. He's someone that's extremely technically gifted. He's a very good playmaker. He's very good on the ball, and the most important thing I think is that he can produce you moments of magic. I think back to the first leg against Manchester United. Was it the late equaliser that he scored? He didn't really woe me that much in the first leg in that match, but bam, that moment of magic right there to give them an equaliser, which albeit meant nothing in the grand scheme of things, because they went and blew a lead in extra time in the second leg. But you know, it's those moments of magic that City didn't get last season, because Mahrez hadn't been there for a year, Foden out of form, Rodri injured, De Bruyne declining and also struggling to stay fit. You weren't getting moments of magic. The only one I can think of was Doku's assist against Villa for Nunez's last minute winner. That's the only one that pops into my mind from a whole season. Maybe you think of Marmoush's goal against Bournemouth as well. They're the only two that really come to my mind. But the one that mattered the most was the Doku one. And again, yeah, he's extremely technically gifted. And it's only been reported that he's got a £25 million release clause, which is nothing at all. So if that is the case, you really do have to go for that. Like, that's not a lot of money in today's market. And yes, obviously, it's been reported that he does have attitude problems. He's difficult to coach. He's very lethargic. He doesn't really care. Again, I don't know if this is true. Again, this might just be a stereotype, because it is a stereotype that's thrown around about a lot of footballers from North African descent, that they're lazy, they're very disinterested in football, and they don't train very well. You look at Taarabt, Ben Arfa, Boufal. All of those players have had those levied at them. So again, I don't know if it's just a stereotype that continues to be levied at these players, or if it is actually true and he's very difficult to coach. Another thing as well, he's not someone that's willing to defend, willing to track back, win the ball back. He's more of a, I will wait here, you get me the ball, then I'll start putting in the hard yards, then I'll start showing you what I can do, getting us goals. And then when we lose the ball again, I'll still be waiting right here to pick up the ball, which again isn't something that Pep really likes. He has players like Grealish, Doku, Savio, De Bruyne even, were putting in the hard yards to win the ball back. Everybody has to work hard, so that will probably be something that has to be coached out of him. And again, talking about coaching things out of players, it's always rumoured that Pep, and always said that Pep coaches individualism out of players. Grealish is the main example everybody uses, saying that he was great at Villa, he'd take people on, which he would. They'd also say that he'd score goals. That's not really true. Grealish was never a goal scorer, but now you look at him for City, all it is recycling possession, keeping the ball, drawing fouls, not really taking players on. But then on the flip side to that, you look at players like Mahrez, who excelled under Pep and was still very much an individual and played his own game and got goals and assists and was very important for City's success while he was at the club, and very, very underrated, I'd say. You look at Doku and Savinho, they haven't had it coached out of them yet, so I think, you know, although there are these issues of him, you know, not tracking back, potentially having attitude issues, maybe having the individualism coached out of him by Pep and just becoming an average robotic system player. For 25 million, you're taking that risk, aren't you? Come on, like, with someone that has the ability to be one of the best football players in the world, and you could get them at 25 million, even with all of the potential cons and problems that come with that, you're taking it, aren't you? But, you know, with all that being said, we're now getting into the third and final player, which you can probably guess who it is.
Soaking up the jeers. It's really clever the way he just checks.
Yep, you probably guessed the third player on this list. You've already seen him in the thumbnail. I've already mentioned him in the last segment. Morgan Gibbs-White. The Englishman from Forest has been linked with City basically ever since the Florian Wirtz move was off. He's been heavily linked with City since the departure of De Bruyne was announced, and it would probably cost around 70 to 100 million to get him out of Forest, with obviously the English premium, plus the fact that Forest will be very, very reluctant to let him go unless it's for a heavy price, and I think that's one of the reasons that puts me off of it. I look at Calvin Phillips from Leeds, I look at Jack Grealish from Villa. We don't have a good track record under Pep of signing in big English talents, well-known English talents from other English teams, and having them succeed at City. Like, I think of Sterling under Pellegrini is the last one I remember succeeding, and again, that did take time for him to hit the ground running. Obviously, Grealish has been very good at spells and was very good in the treble winning season, never justified 100 million. Calvin Phillips was anywhere between 40 and 50 million. He's never lived up to that. He's never even looked close to living up to that price tag, and it's another worry I have with Gibbs-White. Yes, Gibbs-White's Premier League proven, and yes, Gibbs-White, you know, has played over 150 Premier League games. Gibbs-White is someone that scored 7 goals and got 10 assists last season, which would have made him City's second top goal scorer, joint with Marmoush, and also the person that provided the most assists in the league. You know, he would have performed very, very well if he put up those numbers in the City team last season, but that is again a City team that was off the pace, and just because he's putting up those numbers for Forest doesn't mean he'd put those numbers up for City, because again, Forest don't really defend against a low block. Can he do it against a low block? Obviously, we know Gibbs-White's very good in transition. He's very good at carrying the ball. He's a very powerful runner. He's someone that can bring the ball forward. He's difficult to get off of the ball, something that City missed when De Bruyne's not in the team, and are going to miss now that De Bruyne's gone. But have we seen Gibbs-White perform against a low block enough? No, not really. Teams defend differently against City compared to how they defend against Nottingham Forest, and I think, you know, although Gibbs-White's a very, very good player and he's someone I rate highly, this would be a make or break signing, especially with the state that the City team's in at the moment. You have to look at the players we've got, right? You have to look at the state the club's in right now, the season we're coming off of, the players we've got in the club, the deadwood we've got at the club. Can we afford to take the punt, a 70 million to 100 million pound signing on a player and have him not hit the ground running and have him be a flop? Where would that's a United signing there. Like, putting all of your hopes, big money hopes, on a player that you're not even 100% sure is going to hit the ground running and be a revelation in your club when your squad is in dire need of a refresh. I just don't think the rewards there with the risk that you'd be taking with this signing, and that's why I think Xerxes, although he's not Premier League proven and he might have more of an attitude problem than Gibbs-White, for less money you have to do that. I'd rather sign Xerxes for the 25 million and have him flop than have Gibbs-White flop at 70 to 100 million pounds. And again, I'm a fan of Gibbs-White. I think back to the FA Cup semi-final. If Forest were to score that day, it would have been Gibbs-White putting the ball in the back of the net. He probably should have scored. He had so many good chances and he looked a real threat. But would that form, you know, being an English player, subject to the pressure the English media will put on you, joining City, especially in the state the City squad's in now, for a lot of money, would he be able to perform under all of that pressure? Grealish didn't, Phillips didn't, and I think it's just too much pressure to put on the club and him, especially with the state the squad's in now. But again, let me know what you guys think on these signings down below. I've tried to keep this video nice, short and sweet, give you as much information as possible, but not sit here and drone on for 20 minutes, and just try to give you a nice digestible video on my thoughts on some of these players City have been linked with. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on if you think City should sign these players, who you think City should sign, and who you think your club should sign. Don't even just limit it to City. Tell me who you think your club should sign. I'll be very eager to read all your guys' comments down below. Again, like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But with all that being said, I've been Nathan. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces. Chasing the bad guy chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like G-Takes and turn them out wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it. Body come mad, come shake it. Then get back to the basics. Bro, done shut down cases. They belly dots to the